Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Global Intelligence Update. Today, we're going to do things a little bit different, of course. It's about the language of influence, and everybody here already has a beautiful business, a beautiful brand, but I want to look at it from your business side of things and not from your personal side of things, okay? Because we have two elements that we're always working with at the moment, especially the more and more we step into speaker space or author space, we are more likely to be starting to build a personal brand as well as a business brand. And how do they link together? Recently, I've had a number of people ask me after doing a radio slot that I've now been given, which is really nice, is do they have to have a personal brand? And when you start a business, people need to trust a person. So it's always best to have a personal brand first and then build a business brand. But at some point, you've got to do the switch over again. You've got to build the business brand because the business is something that you want to sell. And then you start building the personal brand because that's where your level of influence or a level of authority starts. Does that make sense? So we're all in that space. I'll show you a couple of pics, and I want you to think, but from a business perspective first, and then we're going to link it back to the personal side of things. Okay. So if I asked you to look at some of these pics that I'm going to show you now, I want you to think from a business perspective, what does it relate to, or what is the first impressions that you get? Okay, and pop it into the chat, please. So if you look at that car from a business perspective, what is the very first thing that comes to mind?
Old-fashioned,
Yeah.
but iconic. I think it's quite
Yeah.
iconic, right? It's quite an
Yeah.
iconic car.
Interesting. Anybody else?
The war, Hitler.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's look at the second one. What comes to mind when you see that?
Oh, that's my car. Oh, she's gorgeous.
So anybody else whose car this is not? What comes to mind? Okay. And when you look at that from a business perspective, what comes to mind?
Solid, reliable, get you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exploding.
Hardworking.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And when you see that?
Service.
Yeah.
Congestion.
Hmm? Yeah. Yeah.
Expensive.
Ooh.
Luxury.
Mm.
Exclusivity.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Like it's been banged up a little bit. Executive.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And the last one?
You've been naughty run.
That might be controversial.
Very controversial.
In the South African context, non-existent.
Absolutely. But can you see that we all have an opinion? The moment we see something, we have an opinion. Okay. So if you look back at those and you came from a personal perspective, would that adjective that you used, would it have changed, do you think? Or would it still be the same?
Probably similar, very close.
Yeah, very much.
Very close.
Okay. So often that's what we look at when we're looking at personal and business. especially when it comes to our branding. We want our business to be one thing, and we want our personal to be something completely different. But look how they overlap one another. Okay. So you can't have one that says casual and the other that says professional and then try and link the two together. And that's what we tend to do when it comes to a brand perspective. So if I showed you,
Is it Di or me?
Yeah, also lost.
Okay. Oops.
be that you
Di, we lost you. You
oh dear.
froze
Oh
for
no.
about 30 seconds. Yeah.
Thanks, Karen. So if you look at Rolex, what is a word that you comes to mind immediately from a business perspective? They want you to believe competence. Is that what comes to mind when you see it?
No.
More luxury than competence.
Ostentatious. That's what
Yeah.
comes to mind for me.
I'd go
So
with competence. I've been to the factory. They know their stuff.
interesting. So their brand is built around competence, but did you know that every 24 hours, Rolex loses 1 second? So competence might be what they want you to perceive, whether they build the brand according to that or not, as our perspectives, basically. So it's the same thing for your business. If you choose a word that you want your brand to represent, is it what other people perceive you as? Because it's really about perception when it comes down to branding. With Amazon, they want sincerity. That's what their strong values are and what they want their brand to represent. Does it?
I'd say no.
I wouldn't put that word with Amazon.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't
Interesting.
use that word neither.
See how interesting it is when we're building brands, when we put in our own words down to what we want our brand to be, but the perception of everybody else is not the same. When it comes to Apple, it's about sophistication. Yes? Yeah? Getting closer, maybe?
Yeah, I would say Apple is back innovation. I suppose sophistication also. I wouldn't, that's the closest, I would say.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then Richard Branson, his brand is he wants you to believe in excitement. So when we're looking at our brands, particularly our business brands, we've got to really understand what our clients are perceiving us as. We might want one thing, but is the perception really what it is that they have? And that's what we tend not to do. We tend not to ask our clients, how do we come across to you? Are we perceived in the way that we want to be perceived? What is our perception? So if you asked one another now to go and look on LinkedIn, for example, could I see immediately, or what would the one word that I would put next to your brand immediately? What do you think I would say? Or what would we say about you?
I'd hope energy.
Energy? Karen? What?
You can see. You
Yes,
tell
but
me.
what is that word that you want us to think about?
So we have three words.
Of course,
So,
you're
so
the
our three
lawyer.
words are educate, empower, and support.
Okay, can I see that immediately when I see your logo?
Um, no, because the logo says so much more. The logo is a whole story
Okay,
of like evolving and growth, and
yeah,
it shows, you can see there
yeah.
it's depicts day and night. There's the moon, there's the sun. It's that nothing is black and white, that you can't have day without night, because it's all about conflict and conflict resolution. That's got a whole story behind it.
So what is the one word that I'm going to see when I see your brand represented?
Right.
Gavin, when I look at your business, what is the one word?
So my business hasn't been launched yet, but it will be based on experience to impact.
Nice.
So experience is the lead word, and then impact is the result.
Okay. Andy, what is it? If I look at yours, what would yours be?
Digital expertise. Digital King kind of speaks for itself, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So we all have something that we want everybody else to perceive when we're looking at our brand, and our brand goes across anything. So whether it's a logo, whether it's your social media, whether it's you as a person, those are all the things that you start looking at and people start perceiving. So it's all your touch points. So keep that in mind now as we move a little bit forward, because I want you to really understand where your brand has been taken to. So out of the following, I'm going to show you now, you're only allowed to choose one. Okay. So when we build brands and personalities, everybody has an archetype or a personality that comes behind a brand. So what is our brand represented by? When I immediately see it, it's one thing, but what you build in is something else. So if you think about Rolex, what they build in is something else, okay? So you can only choose, and there's a couple of slides. So if you don't see you here immediately, don't worry, don't panic, okay? So the archetype of a brand that is innocent is all about being happy and naivety. It's sometimes a little bit boring. It's very black and white. There's no gray areas when you look at their marketing and what they do. So it's very much like McDonald's. They want you to come to eat and to go. Fast food, fast happening, sunshiny, happy, etc. So that's the archetype of innocent. The archetype of a hero is about how I want to improve the world. It's about being strong and confident, sometimes a little bit arrogant, but making sure that you know that you can compete at anything. Or just the guy or girl next door, that's Avis. It's normally about how we belong, how we can connect. Are we faithful in what we're doing, down to earth? Sometimes it's not always authentic, but we have this desperation to want to belong. Do any of these sound like what you building right now in your brand?
Yeah.
I think I'm hero.
Hero? Okay, yeah, okay. Keep that in mind now, okay? So remember, you can only have one at the end. So keep that in mind as we move forward. So the second group is outlaw, so very much like Apple, where they push the boundaries, where they break all the rules all the time. Sometimes they take it too far, though. They're very much at the disruptors in the environment. Entertainer is how we bring joy. So Nando's, we have this very comedian type advertising that they have been doing for a very long time. Sometimes it can be disrespectful. They talk a lot about politicians, etc. But it's all about tongue in cheek and having fun. Sage, which is like CNN, this is where they bring wisdom and knowledge. It's like the teacher, the expert. Sometimes they are a bit too opinionated, but they're always seeking knowledge and wanting to share the knowledge and the wisdom at the same time. And then the lover, like Hallmark, which inspires love, creates intimacy. It's very passionate, selfless, and very beautiful. People are attracted to them for what they look like. Any of these relate?
Yep, I'd take Outlaw.
Outlaw? Okay.
Lover.
A lover. There we go, Monet. Hello.
Hi, sorry, I'll switch on my camera as soon as I've had my breakfast.
No worries. Anybody else from you?
Yeah, I think I'm although I'd like to think I'm a lover, but I think I'm more of an entertainer.
Okay. All right. So now remember, you can't have the one from the beginning if you're entertained as this one, hey?
I'm kind of settled on three at the moment, so let's see where we go.
Okay, let's go. Right, the next page, the explorer. This is very much like the body shop, always new experiences, seeking adventure continuously. They're never grounded. The journey is what you look at when you see their brand. Royalty, like White House, they create and want to control order, is ruler. It's very much the executive power. Sometimes they very or too authoritarian and exercises power whenever they can. Creator is about creating meaning or value. It's very much the creative, the imaginative, the inventive, often impractical. But here they're developing art and creating skills. Magician, like Sony, is making dreams a reality, which is about inventive, visionary. They're very manipulative in what they do, but they're developing a vision so that they're there to inspire. Anybody here?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit?
Little bit magician, little bit explorer.
Did we have to pick from the one before as well, or can we swap?
You can only have one at the end.
I think it has to be creator then.
Oh, so funny. Okay, and then the last one is the caregiver. This is to protect and care for others, very much the mother, the servant, the person serving continuously, but they're often not taken advantage of, but they're here to make your life easier. Right, so only one out of the entire list, you are only allowed to choose one because this is where we get our brands wrong. If we choose a whole lot of them, we're trying to be everything to everybody. So we're trying to get your brand to be more succinct, more in one direction, more clarity that's around. But you've got to remember with your brand, it has to be real. It has to be worth somebody else's attention. It's got to build trust. And ultimately, you're building meaning behind your brand. Okay, so when you're looking at the personality of your brand, this is what people see immediately when they're looking, no matter where your brand shows up, whether it's you, social media, your logo, your email, signature, anything that's a touch point of your business. Okay, so keep in mind that there's a business brand and then there's a you brand. So is it different? Is your personalities different, slightly different from one another, or are they exactly the same? So I'm going to go back to the beginning just to recap which ones they are so you can choose, okay? One, only one for your business and one for you. Innocence, it's about being happy. Hero, it's about being confident. Just the girl or guy next door, it's about belonging. Outlaw, it's about pushing those boundaries. Entertainer, about having fun. Sage is about wisdom and knowledge. Lover is about creating intimacy and closeness. Explorer is all about adventures and experiences. Royalty is about power. Creator is about finding meaning. Magician is about building dreams. And caregiver is about serving. So, which one are you?
Which one would you say?
Okay, my business is hero, absolutely,
Hero.
and my personality, I'm split a little bit, but I was thinking outlaw. I think it's a magician.
Interesting. Interesting. So just make a note of those in front of you because what I want you to do after we finish just now is to go and see if your clients can actually see that. So when they go and jump onto your LinkedIn, for example, and you write in articles about your industry, can they see which one are they actually reading about? Are they seeing you in the article or are they seeing your business side in the article? And we'll get to that in a minute, okay? So make sure you're making a note of which ones you are. So anybody else want to share?
Hero. Hero with a little bit of the I think it was the lover one at the end.
Oh, the servant. the caregiver.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that, like with my family and close friends, kind of, and even clients, really. But yeah, otherwise, definitely, I'm the one that's out there fighting for everybody's rights, and yeah.
Nice. Gavin?
So I'm more in terms of the business side, Sage, but
Say.
in terms of the personality side, there's a lot of outlaw and a lot of hero in there as well. You
Okay.
know, it kind of comes together. Not that I always want to be the hero, but it comes into play.
Yeah, 100%. Nice. Claire?
Yeah, I think the business is hero, and I think personally it's probably a creator. Creator of experiences, creator of shine, and yeah, I think that's bringing the two
Nice.
together.
Monet?
I'm having I feel like I'm a comedian on a smarty box at the moment. But I definitely I'm a ruling six, my number, so my soul number. So it's caregiver all the way. Unfortunately, it's a blessing and a curse. But from a business perspective, it's the combination between sage and lover, I think. I know you said we can only choose one, but obviously in a sexology business, it needs to be all about love and intimacy and closeness, and that is what I preach. So it'll definitely have to be lover, I think.
Interesting. So what we often do is we start to combine too many of them, and that's what the chaos starts creating. So if you know what brand personality you have, it's easier when you start doing articles, writing for newspapers, magazines, when you start speaking on stage, you speak in one language. When you are putting all of these things together, you've always got to look and see, is my brand standing out in the right way? In the way that you wanting the perception of your brand to be. So, for example, if I jumped on stage and did cartwheels in a dance, for example, people would look at me and go, "What are you doing? You've now completely lost your marbles." That's not what my personality is at all. But I will have fun on stage, but I wouldn't be doing those kind of things. So you've got to be really vigilant when you are influencing people. And that's very much about being on a platform that your audience sees you, whether it's on stage, whether it's on radio, whether it's writing a book, whether it's doing your social media, whether it's writing articles, doing white papers. It doesn't matter where you are at. Your brand becomes super important. So I just wanted to take you back to that moment of just looking at the language of your influence at the moment. Is it where it should be? So now understanding a little bit more of what your brand personality is, can I see immediately that you're not misunderstood? That your brand is not misunderstood. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. A lot of my clients will come to me that have product and they say that they are in the sustainability space. And the next minute I'm on social media and I see them holding a plastic cup. Can you see the conflict now that I have? You're not in sustainability. You can't stand up for sustainability if that's what I'm seeing. So suddenly I'm misunderstanding what your brand is saying to people. So when you're looking at your works that you've put out there, are you making sure now that your brand personality is shining through? So whether you're the creator or sage or power hungry or whatever it is that you want to be, can I see that immediately? Because that's important. Because if I'm not seeing it, it means that your positioning is not right. Okay. People decide very quickly whether we want to believe it or not. I showed you those photos earlier on, and in those photos, you immediately could say to me or give me an adjective. It's the same thing with your business. immediately people are making judgment, whether you want to believe it or not, they are. So are you being trusted? Are you being understood? And do I actually need you? So it all comes back to, are you real? Are you worth my attention? And can I trust you? So if you're looking at it from your client's perspective, are you talking their words? Okay, because as we move forward in 2026 in particular, there's going to be a balance between tech and humanity always as we move forward. The more tech comes into play, the more balancing act that we need to do from a human point of view. So we have to look at data and we have to look at AI right now. In order to listen and learn, we need to have that in play. But we need to make sure that we have enough substance of the imperfect to make us human, as well as to make sure that we are feeling real again. So whatever you're talking about, whatever you're writing about, it's all about building the real audience trust, being real communities, having real influence, having real world experiences, having real human creativity and visibility. So that's a whole shift that's changing place at the moment. And I'll share with you or you can just go and Google Ogilvy's report that has just come out, where they're looking at how businesses are marketing going forward in 2026 from where they were in their influence space to how they need to move to being more real. So you need to decide what you're building. So everything behind a business is the brand. Everything behind you is a brand. And often we forget that. So we're building something. Everybody has an opinion of what you're doing. So it becomes important about how you're showing up. What language do you use? I often say to people, I don't talk in the startup space because I believe people should be out there walking the streets, seeing whether their products is going to work, trying to find who their clients are first before that they will sit and listen to what the next stages are. And what we do is we build a brand of confusion. So we want to do everything for everybody, and we end up doing nothing for nobody. So that becomes really important for you. And especially, Gavin, as you build your business side, what are you building from a clarity's perspective? That's really important as you move forward. You've got to know what your clarity framework is. And that comes back and will always come back to what we spoke about previously, what the problem is and what's the outcome. And previously, I spoke about your one sentence, which we've all been through. And the more you can refine that for your client, the better it is as you move forward. So we often have this positioning gap because we believe that we're not taken serious. And I don't know whether you all follow Rainier Lombard. He's a Circle of Excellence client, and he's exceptional in the LinkedIn space. If you're not, go follow him on LinkedIn. He's done wonders for many businesses from their LinkedIn profile. In fact, they worked on mine a couple of years ago, and I had to tell them to stop because I was getting too many clients. Such a problem to be in. But it's important to know what you're building and what you're putting out there is actually right. But part of what he's been talking about recently is a lot of people are saying that they're not getting the right leads or nobody's contacting them. What's actually happening is people are watching. If everything on LinkedIn is right, people are watching. They're not interacting yet, but they're making sure that what you're saying is really what it is that you're doing. So it's taking the time frame used to be way shorter when people would interact. Now it's taking them longer because they're trying to make sure that what you're really saying is the truth behind what you're doing. So just keep that in mind from a LinkedIn perspective.
Diane, just remind us his name.
Sorry?
The Renward guy that you mentioned.
Rainier Lombard.
Rainier.
Annalise put his name in the chat. He's on he is on LinkedIn, and he's a Circle of Excellence client, and he's also one of the co-founders of the Lacquer Network.
Oh, perfect. We'll find it. Cheers.
But his main business is Flans, FDR, Flans Design, I can't remember, but FDR is his company. So have a chat with him. He's a super awesome guy, and his knowledge on LinkedIn is phenomenal. Right. So are you positioning yourself in the right gap? Are making sure that you are clear on what you're saying, how you're saying it, and what you're doing, making sure that there's nothing vague about what you're saying. And that's important because now you know you've only got a couple of seconds for people to want to engage with you. Are you super clear? And there will always be that triangle where we have to link our expertise with our visibility and with our language, and that creates your authority out. So the moment you start looking at it from a client's perspective, what is it that they want to know from you immediately? That becomes really important for your brand, because the amount of experience they're looking for, that builds your authority. The visibility, so where are you showing up where your clients actually are at? The people that pay you money are your clients, okay? So whether you B2B or B2C, it doesn't matter. It's the people that pay you money. Are you showing up around them? And that can be in person, online, in any formal description with your industry bodies, where people need to see you that they can engage with you. And then are you speaking the right language? So I don't speak scalability, because I believe scaling is where you sit in the corporate levels of board members, etc., and that's where the scaling starts happening. Growth is in the area from between startup and between scalability. That's growth space. That's where most of us sit, and that's where I play. So when I start speaking about scalability, you'll realize that I've lost my plot completely, because that's not the words that I would normally use. So when people write articles on your behalf, you need to make sure that the words that they've written about you is actually the words that you use, because that influences people reading about you, especially when you're using ChatGPT. And I know lots of people are using it to create articles, and it's fantastic and it's quick and it's easy, but is it really the words that you use? So as I mentioned LinkedIn just now, LinkedIn is really that handshake. It's about going into a networking space where you meet somebody and you're having that first handshake. You know, can you build that level of authority immediately from that one handshake? So you know that when we, of body language, when we shake some on top and you build your hand over, what does that mean? Anybody? When you go in for a handshake, I can't do it upside down, and they shake your hand and then they turn it over, that their hand is on top of your hand. What does that mean?
I think it means control.
Yeah,
Dominance
it's the
and
power here,
control.
isn't it? Like when
Yeah.
you pull your hand towards you. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Got me there.
So it's really about those kind of things. A hard shake? Have you got a soft shake? Have you got a floppy shake? Like, what is it that you're doing? So when I'm meeting you in person, what is my first impressions of your handshake? Now it's the same thing when we look at LinkedIn. What is my first impressions of your handshake on LinkedIn? Is it powerful? Is it strong? Is it floppy? Is it weak? It's the same kind of thing. So it's all about these touch points become important towards your brand. So whatever your brand personality is, that's what I need to see. That's what, when you shake my hand, that's what I need to see immediately. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn becomes your first handshake, and that's at first impression. So are you making sure that the following are correct, is correct? Photo. Is it approachable? Is it professional? Is it up to date? Is it credible? Are you wearing a scarf, for example, for women? The moment you put a scarf on, you're blocking somebody from you. Are you wearing sunglasses? That's another way of blocking somebody from seeing the real you. Are you open? Can I see your actual face in the picture, or is it the whole body? So your face starts diminishing. That means that your trust levels start decreasing. So what does your photo look like? There's a fantastic website called, and I can't remember, but I'll let you know what it's called. I think it's called Headshot. I'll think of it just now. And you go and put your photo on there, and people critique it for you on your behalf. It's fantastic, because the ones that you think is just perfect, they come back with all sorts of comments, and it's the most bizarre thing ever. But I'll remember the name and I'll share it with everybody. Then what is your headline? How are you positioning yourself? So what is your title? And often I've spoken to so many people about this. When people go and Google you, what are they Googling? What are they looking for? What words are they using? Very seldom will they put something like CEO or co-founder or founder when they're searching for something specific. So is your title and your headline linked to what they're looking for? The about you becomes your mini bio. Can you word it correctly for your audience? So is it words that they would use in their search, in your SEO? Is it linked to what they're searching? Because if it's not, then you're missing out on somebody finding you. And then what is your content demonstrating? So if you are that caregiver, can I see the empathy? Can I hear it in the words that you're using? If you that power dominance, like the White House, can I see it? Can I hear it in what you're saying? And then making sure that that headline example is really down pat. And this, you've done your one-liners, and it's not necessarily only a one-liner, but I need it to be more specific, more memorable. You need to really look at upgrading it as your business card, because that's really what it is now. It needs to be specific, with an outcome, with the confidence, so that you make sure that your brand is not misaligned. We don't want you to be building something beautiful, but nobody's finding it because you're not confident enough, or you're not making sure that it's at the right level for your clients that are looking for you. So remember, if you're looking for the housewife compared to the woman CEO compared to the chairman, the words are very different, because our outcomes would be very different. What we need is very different. So make sure that you're really looking at it from your client's perspective. Make sure that it is, if you want it to be professional, that everything is then polished. If you want it to be casual, that your tone is then casual, and that it's not a combination of the above. And then making sure that your signature line is really aligned and credible with your brand. That's the most important right now. What questions do you have?
So I popped into ChatGPT quickly to look at my personal websites, my business websites, my LinkedIn, DDR's LinkedIn, and tell me what brand personality I have. And it's not the hero.
What is it?
I'll read it to you. Hold on. It gives me a whole breakdown. It is primary, the caregiver; secondary, the sage; and differentiator, the magician.
You see now.
Yeah.
So isn't it interesting what we believe we want to stand for and what we actually stand for are often two different things. And that's the importance. So we've got to know, you've really got to look at, do you really need to be that caregiver? Maybe you need to have the empathy, but people are looking at you from a different perspective. They don't want you to be, ooh, oh, etc. They want you to be strong and supportive and expert and so really look at what is the expectation from your clients. Nice. It's very interesting what we believe we should be and what we actually are for our clients.
Well, it's just interesting as that's my perception of myself is the hero, because I'm a, I'm like civil rights, human rights. I want peace in the world. I fight for things like that. And yet, honestly, if I read what ChatGPT has said, it's not wrong, because that is what we do. We want to transform people's lives in a way that's meaningful and lasting. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Very
Yeah, I think
interesting.
it's fantastic. Well done. Yeah. But I think
That's
the
great.
important thing now is to work out, are you okay with it?
Yeah.
Or what needs to change?
I am actually okay with it, interestingly. When I read the way it's sort of dissected it as to how it fits into those personality types, and it's actually taken parts of my websites, my different websites, my LinkedIn, and said this is why it's saying that. Um, I am actually okay with it. Yeah, it actually
Yeah.
makes sense. Mm.
Nice. I think what it also does is it gives you that next level of confidence.
Mm.
Because if you know what personality or brand personality it's giving you, it's almost saying to you, it's good, it's okay, you're on the right track. Or it
Mm.
means that you need to start changing direction if you don't want to be known as that.
Well, so what it has said is that the first two are very strong, but the third one, which is the differentiator, is the one that I actually need to focus on more, because that's differentiating me from others. So
Totally.
yeah, so that was interesting.
What was the third one?
The magician.
Very much so.
So
And you don't want to be
yeah.
known as everybody else in the industry. So, and that becomes that's really what makes you how unique you actually are.
Yeah, so because what it says the evidence is transformative mediation experience. So it's taken that from LinkedIn. My book, Trauma to Triumph. It's amazing how this thing knows everything. Language around healing, transformation, empowerment. You don't just resolve disputes, you change people's internal state.
So the question would be can I see that if I read your LinkedIn post?
So that's what it's saying, is that it's there, but it's not prominent enough, and I need to focus more on that. Yeah.
Yeah, very much. And I think that's important for you to know, because often when we're looking, and that's why I say to you just now, what is that one word when you're looking at your logo that you want people to look at? And so now thinking about how you differentiate yourself immediately, what is that one word that you want people to know about you?
Well, then it's going to be transformation, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think our logo does stand for that, though. I think our logo is strong on that.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
So isn't that interesting if everybody went and did a similar thing? What did you use? ChatGPT, or who did you use to go and
I used Chats, just because Chats got a lot of my history of, because I use Chat quite a lot. So it knows about my website, and it knows about DDR, and it knows about my book. Yeah. And then I just popped my websites into there, although I probably could find them anyway, but I just popped it in and said, have a look at all of these and see what my brand is saying.
Nice.
Yeah.
We build something with the expectation that it means one thing, but actually what we're doing is we're building it and it means something completely different. Like Rolex. Rolex wanted to be known as reliability, but everybody else had a different opinion about Rolex. So it's a very, very good exercise for everybody to do right now, because as you're building your business, your brand takes the brunt of everything. So whether it's your business brand, which you need to build, or whether it's your personal brand that you're building, you need to make sure that you know what it is that you're putting out there. And is it in line with what you are building? And that's the important side behind becoming that influence in your space.
Diane, is that something that is that one of your kind of brand model, or is it a brand model that we can download somewhere so we can play with it and have a look at it?
It's mine, but I don't mind sharing with you.
Is that okay? Just so I can do what Karen has done, and we're building a new collaborative brand. So it's nice to actually do that exercise right from the beginning, so we can make sure that we really align with that.
Absolutely. I will definitely share. I really don't mind at all. And I think it's really important as you build it now, go and have a look and go and ask whichever AI tool that you've got available that knows more about what you've been doing, what both of you have been doing. Go and do it separately for your businesses. Go and do it separately for your personal brand, and then do it together. But you've got to do it separately first. Okay,
Yeah,
because
good point.
that's really differentiates and distinguishes what makes you, Claire, unique and your business unique, what makes Andy unique and his business unique, because you don't want to take that away from your brands. And I think that becomes really important. Like Karen has just realized that the part that makes her unique, she's not talking about. And that's what we tend to do, is we tend to want to fit in. But if you're going to fit in with your brands, that means that you're fighting all the competitors. If you're prepared to stand out, that means that you are the true influence. Remember what we're doing right now as we move forward. We want real audience, real communities, real influence. So when we really know what we're influencing, it then makes life so much easier, doesn't it? Then we don't mind standing out and doing cartwheels on the stage or something like that. Not that I'll ever do that, just saying.
I'll do the
Never say never.
walking.
Yeah, there we go. Nice. So your brand is what you build from a business perspective, that ultimately your business brand you want to sell. So when we know what we're building from a brand perspective, it makes your brand an asset. And then your brand you can sell. Does that make sense? So I would look at DDR, for example, just because it's on my screen, and eventually Karen can put a rand value to it and sell it. So long as everything is aligned behind it, so long as all the systems are in place. But to start off with, your brand becomes the important part, because that's what people see first. Okay. Questions, everybody?
No, I think you've given us a lot to think about.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
That's good.
Always
I think
leaves me very, like, I always think about this for the whole day after you've spoken, Diane, like the things that you dropped. Very interesting.
I'm
Yeah, this
glad.
one is very, very interesting. I think I'm going to have to go and relook at. I'm definitely going to do the exercise separately though, because I asked Chat to do it together. So I'll go to one of the different AI platforms and just ask it to look at my personal LinkedIn and my car and voice attorney page.
Yes.
And then I'll ask a different one to look at DDR and then see how those align with each other.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's important because we are building different things at the same time.
Yeah.
Each one has to have its own personality as we move forward. And you'll find that there's going to be an overlap a little bit of some of it, but each one needs to stand on its own feet. And that's the important side. As you grow it, as it goes to the next level, each one must be able to stand on its own feet. Each one must ultimately be able to be sold if needed to, or if wanted to. And ultimately, you're building an asset behind it. Also, remember that if you're looking for investors ever, whether you want them to sponsor a book or sponsor a talk or do an event with you or invest money into your business, this is what they look at first. is they look at the brand because it's the most visible part to what a business is. So once we know that, we actually, it makes life so much easier. And people don't tell us, when you're starting with a logo and you're starting with all these kind of beautiful things, nobody tells us that behind the scenes is actually science behind it. Whether we want to believe it or not, everything in business is science. So once we know what it is, it's easy then to move forward. So go and have a look at it individually, collectively, and see what comes out. And if you are not sure, send it through to me, and I don't mind looking at it because I'm objective. I'm not in your business. So then it makes it easier for me to pinpoint those golden threads really quickly. So keep that in mind when you look at your brand personalities now. All righty. Questions
so
before
much.
we go? We have a couple of minutes if anybody has a question or a comment. But go and scrutinize, but from a client's perspective, please. The person that's going to pay you the big money, go and make sure you're looking from that perspective, because those are the words that they want to hear. That's what they want to see. So if Karen suddenly adds purple to her logo, it would be a problem because that's not necessarily who a client is. That's how we scrutinize now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Di.
It's
Thanks,
a great
Di.
pleasure, everybody. Have a
Especially
fantastic
while
time.
I'm building my blueprint, so this is going to come in handy with my sessions with Landy now.
Oh, nice. Absolutely. That's amazing. Well done. Yes. I am back next week. I'm going to continue this talk. We're going to go a little bit deeper into taking the brand and putting it into your marketing. And we're going to do like a seriously deep dive. So those people that don't like numbers, don't join. But I think it's sometimes worth having a look at what happens once we've done the fun part to what happens with the numbers in business. So we're going to be talking about that next week. And I hope to see you all here. Have an awesome week.
Awesome.
Goodbye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Thanks,
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.